Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Waters Runs Deep podcast. I think tonight, Amanda, in honor of her birthday, happy birthday, Amanda, is going to do lizard people tonight. Amanda, you want to tell us about lizard people?
Oh, I am so excited. I have been making lizard people jokes for a long time now, and I'm very excited to share where this theory comes from, and then talk about specifically why I love the lizard people theory. But first, I wanted us to talk about Florida Man. So, are we ready? Our Florida Man topic today. Florida man accused of urinating in middle of street while directing traffic.
He was peeing while he was directing traffic?
Yes, he was directing traffic while urinating in the middle of
that is multi-talented.
What
was his wang out?
Traffic?
Was his wang out?
Was the pee stream directing traffic?
Oh,
that would be. Was he like flapping it?
Using that to point what direction to go.
You're able to go.
Well, I am not sure if the wang was out. I assume it was. It says that there were two vehicles stopped at the intersection with the man waving at a vehicle to go around him. Deputy thought that there might have been an accident, but that they saw the man urinating in the middle of two turn lanes while using his other hand to wave drivers past him.
Nice.
When asked why he was conducting a traffic stop, the individual said, "I drank a lot of water and couldn't wait for the light," before apologizing for his behavior.
Don't mind me, just taking a piss.
So did he have his hazards on?
Did he have his hazards on?
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I mean,
he was actually the passenger of the vehicle. And when the driver was interviewed, he said a backpack inside the car that belonged to the individual who was urinating had a bottle with marijuana residue, a digital scale, and baggies.
Oh, got some intent to distribute too.
It doesn't seem like there was actually marijuana, just the residue, the scale, and the baggies. So I think he already distributed.
He sold out and he had to pee so bad.
I mean, business was busy, you know? You ever get like really busy and you ain't got a chance to go pee? Car broke down. I got a whiz.
I mean, there have been moments where I'm like, I have to go so bad, but I'm very far from home. So what do I do?
So Mike, so he had his hand on his junk peeing. What was he aiming at? Like he couldn't just let it go? You free up both hands for directing traffic and just let it ride?
I don't think he wanted to get out his pants. He still had to. He wasn't like pants down, ass out.
That's how I pee when I go to like urinals and stuff in public restroom.
You just drop your drawers all the way down.
All the way down to the ankles, like I'm an 8-year-old pissing in the urinal.
My God, you're the one that when we walk in, you just get a face full of ass right there.
Yeah,
I like that.
And I just give a head nod. People like give me the side eye when they gotta stand next to me. I just give them a little head nod, like, "Yep, that just happened."
Yep. Someone standing next to you.
Gotcha. Hey, listen, they're either going to stand next to you or stand behind you.
That's only if you're in San Francisco, I hear.
I guess.
Boob hurts your mind.
Wow. I'm going to have to start doing that, though. That's going to be fantastic. I'm going to start standing at the urinal with my britches all the way down.
Are you
depends on the restroom.
That there's dirt?
Well, my pants aren't that loose that they're hanging on the ground. My shoes kind of keep them up. Yeah. So the pants aren't getting in anything because everybody knows, all guys know, I don't know what it is, if it's just drips or what, but there is always a subtle puddle of piss right at the base of a urinal. Always. It's
True
there.
Story.
I don't know what it is. People just shaking and getting a little wild with it or what, but there's always
what I'm thinking is you got the guys that aren't long enough, like not standing close enough. So when that dribble, when you lose the oomph in your stream, Like when you're coming to the end and there's not a lot of push on it,
Kind of just
you
drip,
get that
drip.
little drip. Yeah, a little drip down on the bottom.
I was going to
That
say, are we
makes
sure
sense.
it's not Ricochet from a very intense stream?
That could be
Okay,
too.
so you do have to worry about Ricochet. And Chris, you can, So you have to aim at like the curve of the urinal.
Yeah.
So you just get it to like ride that curve around and it doesn't come back and splatter on you.
Some of them have targets.
I know.
Yeah, some urinals have targets in them. They're not like a normal target. They're like subtle, but
yeah, look, some of them will put a fly on there because we're always trying to aim and hit it. No, like a sticker on the back of the urinal.
Oh,
there'll be a fly back there, or there'll be like a little target,
Finally
or
try to hit
something
the
that you'll want to pee on.
Well, that's Well, they use little like screen looking things too. You should aim for that too, the center of that, because that disperses it so it doesn't splash back.
and then
you really
I'm
don't
just
want to get
always
any
praying
splash.
I'm not going to get a disease.
From a urinal cake?
No, from when I go to the bathroom, I'm like trying to like squat cover.
hard.
Like wait, it's hard. Like you guys have it lucky. Like you get to play a game while you're peeing, while we're literally practicing like yoga, trying to like be in like crouching tiger stance, or like
chair pose. It's
chair
pose.
like
chair pose.
Chair pose. Yeah, it literally is chair pose, and you're like, don't touch anything. Like it's
I mean that's why like girls' legs are strong, like and they keep those in shape because y'all have to like do that whole chair pose gimmick. Like we do that out in the woods. You have to lean up against a tree or something.
Yeah,
you got to shit. You all right, bud?
Well,
that tea seems to be whipping that tail.
Apparently, it's the first time I've drank out of a bottle.
I thought you were going to wear it there for a second.
That lid on that tea just went like whoosh. I know our listeners can't see, but that went very far.
Yeah, jumped off there.
Chris had the ricochet with the lid.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd rather have lid ricochet than pee.
Yeah, I know. Be using the bottle here in a minute.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
We also can't do that very well either.
Hold on. Wait, didn't you say Florida Man had a bottle?
Oh, right.
Well, he
but that was his marijuana tote.
But the marijuana had
desperate.
It had marijuana residue in it.
But you can't pee in the marijuana tote. Like,
yeah,
it's not too often you come around another marijuana tote.
Well, it's probably only like that big too. I mean, how much pee you really going to get in there?
Well, it depends. He had a scale and everything else, so he might have had a bigger bottle.
That's true. That's true. So what did they arrest him?
Yes, he was taken to jail.
I would hope so. I mean,
he went to jail.
And standing in the middle of an intersection is kind of that kind of goes along with that public nudity ordinance.
Impeding traffic and public indecency.
Impeding. He said impeding traffic. I like the play on words. That was awesome.
I know. Nobody caught it. You were the only one who caught it.
Impeding.
All right. Well, good stories. Let's get into our topic.
Here we go.
At least he had one hand to flag with. I mean,
yeah.
Could you imagine if he'd had to throw the other hand up real quick to stop traffic?
Yeah, it pissed all over the place.
Piss would have went everywhere.
Well, he might have also didn't use the bottle because maybe his friend was like, "You ain't doing that shit in my car." And so he was like, "All right."
I mean, the car doesn't sound like it was the best car, anyways.
Yeah.
No. And didn't seem like the best friend either to pull him under the bus of saying he had all this shit in the backpack.
Well, I'm sure the friend was worried. I'm sure the friend was worried about them going through the car. And he's like, "Oh, nope. Oh, boy's got some shit in the car. It's not mine. Not it.
Not it.
I'm just Uber driver."
Yeah.
That's
all right.
hilarious.
Well, let's talk about some lizard people. They are among us. They are blood-drinking, flesh-eating, shape-shifting, extraterrestrial, reptilian humanoids. And their only objective in their cold-blooded little heads is to enslave the human race.
Couldn't have said it better
you?
myself. Absolutely.
They are our leaders, our corporate executives, our beloved Oscar-winning actors, and our Grammy-winning singers. They're the ones that are responsible for the Holocaust, the Oklahoma City bombings, and the 9/11 attacks. At least that's what this one guy who seems to be the lizard expert, David Icke, prefers to say.
I love David Icke, Manda. You're not about to slam my friend, are you?
I am not. I have nothing bad about David Icke to say because I know that you love him. Although I think he is as crazy as that one friend we had growing up, Chris.
Yes, but he's been right quite a bit, and he's got something going. He does. Before you get into it, he does like. I'm sure you might even got into this in your research, but he goes around. Well, at least he did. I don't know if he still does, and he does these lectures, and it's not like 1 or 2 hours and then other people talk. Like he goes up and he literally talks for like 8 to 12 hours straight. Like nonstop, 8 to 12 hours straight. And he'll run down the entire like topic.
Okay. So that's when you need a bottle in a 12-hour lecture. I'm sorry. You better be a female getting naked or something like that to entertain me for 12 hours.
Yeah, and it's not comfy chairs.
I can't believe I forgot to send this to you. Sorry to change the subject, but I tell you all how I learned about how astronauts use the bathroom in space?
No.
They just pee in their suits because of gravity. Like you can't actually use a toilet. And they have a toilet, but sometimes it doesn't work. Yes, I will send it to you.
No.
Yes.
So they used to pee in their suits.
They have a tea bag in there, right?
Then they got the tea bags, but the tea bag sometimes didn't work. It would cause, especially for women, it would cause like urinary tract infections and stuff. And then they had a poop bag, so they had to like carry around their poop in their suits. And then they built a toilet that is fine, but sometimes the toilet doesn't work or it's broken and they have to go back to using the poop bag. Or sometimes the toilet breaks and the poop just kind of floats around.
And she left us hanging.
I was going to say, did we just lose Amanda?
Amanda,
did you lose me?
We got the toilet worked, sometimes didn't work, and then we lost you.
And the poop then floats around in the space center.
Oh, that's fun.
So I know, Chris, you're muted, but I know in the space shuttle, they had a hose that would like suction the pee. Like, so you'd put your little member in there and pee and it would suction it into a bag. But I guess Elon Musk had to come up with a new thing for his capsule.
It's all fake.
That is true.
That's why I knew.
They didn't go to
space.
That is true.
And the Earth is flat, and there's a hole in the South Pole.
Yeah.
And the sun is equal or smaller sizes than the Earth.
There you go. There you go. We have just rounded out our 16.
Frogs are gay.
And bats carry more than just diseases.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was it bats or pigeons?
No, it was bats. Bat bombs.
Bats, yeah. Yeah, bat bombs.
That was my favorite episode so far.
Yeah.
And aliens are among us. So, folks, we've just rounded out our 16 episodes. Right there. There.
And that brought us back to episode 16. The aliens are among us, along with the lizard people that are definitely among us.
Well, they're actually
I think
aliens,
Yeah, I think they're the higher up. They're like the top dogs of the alien clans. They're like the evil ones. They call them the Dragos.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So
research. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. According to lizard people theory, bloodthirsty reptilian aliens first arrived on the Earth during ancient times. Since then, there has been merging with humans through the manipulation of DNA, as well as interbreeding with the human population. So currently, what is assumed that what we have actually are not pure reptile and aliens, but probably more like interbreeding with humans. So they still have that human-ish form, but they have alien DNA and stuff in them. Yep. The goal of this process, that the reason they did this was because they wanted to go gain control of our world by obtaining positions of power and influence. So that again includes like royalty, politicians, popular entertainers, et cetera, et cetera. And Chris is among the 4% of Americans who believe in this lizard people theory. Again, most noted by David Icke, who has written several books in which he provides evidence and further explanation as to why this theory is real, etc. This theory has come about in the early 2000s, but there has been a steady number of folks. And I actually read another article that went from that 4% to 12%. So it looks like it's really jumped in the last couple of years, if that theory is be true. So you have friends among you, Chris.
Oh, I know it.
12% of the population believes what you believe. How does that make you feel?
Yeah. I mean, because of the evidence. I mean, there's plenty of evidence there to back it up. I mean, it's not cold, hard evidence, but it sure seems like it, you know?
So I think in the English language, what you're looking for is
evidence.
Theory.
That's true. So you
I
caught on to that.
Theory.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, Mr. Icke says that when you get back into the ancient world, you'll find this reoccurring theme of a union between non-human and human races, creating a hybrid race. It's coming from people who are in charge of the non-human form and this age-old phenomenon of shape-shifting. And so we will see that in like ancient art, ancient storytelling, just different kinds of sort of references back to these scaly lizard-like humanoids, especially in regards to like reptilian eyes, things like that. A simple way to prove the existence of these lizard people is by recognizing the ones among us with some characteristics. But I'm not going to tell you those characteristics right now because we are going to play a game later in which I will share those with you. You know me, I always got to have a game. I love a game. So Ike also says that the Bible is a way to really, like, one of his evidence theories, and that it plays a huge role in this belief system. So the theory goes on to discuss that, Ike finds lizard people references in the Bible, specifically the serpent tricking Eve into eating an apple, the Nephilim interbreeding with humans, the Satan's characteristics as a serpent or a dragon-like being. All these kind of phrases really giving that ambiguous first place of like this extra powerful being some type of lizard, serpent, snake. It really wasn't a snake. It was a humanoid. I think that this is some easy confirmation bias taking place, but it could be a misinterpretation of evidence. So we have to acknowledge that. But this belief system is mainly supported by average Americans. So a lot of Americans believe that it's mostly Americans who are part of that 12%, not a lot of Americans. And it's a lot of people who have, it's a lot of people who have literal to no control over their government or trust in their government, and thus they're easily directed to mistrust those in power. Chris, do you feel like that describes you?
Not at all. Not at all. It's not that I don't trust the government. I just feel like, the government's kind of been disenfranchised in a sense. And I feel like the power is not placed where the power should be. And I feel like that's as a result of some all-encompassing group or set of individuals, but mainly around the military-industrial complex and then the private industries as well that make up that industrial complex, that I could see a central leadership of some kind of, not necessarily lizard people. I think that's just I feel like that's almost a facade that's put up to take away from the real problem, and not directly identify that. That's the only thing, is I feel like that they've put that idea in people's head of being lizard people to kind of make it a ha type of thing when we talk about not a secret society, but a secret group of individuals that are actually running things outside of your daily political parties.
Yeah, that's a great segue into kind of this other part that I had, where a lot of people will make believe this is true for like individuals they don't like or personalities that they disagree with.
Right.
And there's little opposition from society, so it kind of encourages believers. I think people just sort of like allow this belief to continue because they're like, whatever, you crazy. Without actually looking at the deeper thought of like, is there something? Maybe it's not lizards, but is there something controlling the government? I actually agree wholeheartedly with you, Chris. I think that there is a larger international power, um, not a power that can, not a assimilation power, but of people. So the lizard people theory is heavily reinforced by confirmation bias. So it's like looking just for information that will confirm your thought, like not accepting or allowing the opposition. And furthermore, those who have become attached to Ike's point of view have also developed the ability to interpret some information from vague resources. So finding resources that are maybe not so true or are like lizardpeople.com, which is not a website I recommend anyone go to. It was not the best.
It's a real website though.
Yeah.
Lizardpeople.com.
Is it triple X rated?
Yeah.
Is it really? I'm not saying that like I'm interested.
No, it wasn't. It was just like a stupid, like it was like you need to buy this. It wasn't really actually a website.
Angela's checking
so
first right now.
This belief system may also be connected to the desire of this structure out of randomness. And really an easier way to explain that our world leaders gain so much power because by linking them to a certain group or a certain accessibility than actually saying like, why do they have this power, and kind of looking at like where the power come from. It's just saying, oh, it's because they're lizards. It should be noted that the lizard people theory is not popular by comparison to other theories. So it's not one of our most famous conspiracy theories. And that a number of Ike's followers are likely motivated by the desire to feel unique. And that's why they really like this theory. But doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So let's talk a little bit more about the lizard people themselves. So these Anunnaki, which means the reptiles, what they call them, have controlled humankind. What is it? Anunnaki?
Anunnaki.
Is that Japanese or something?
No, it's Sumerian.
Oh. Did you make that up?
No, look it up.
Oh.
Why did the Sumerians get to name the lizard people?
Because it's their story from back in ancient Sumeria.
That is true.
And they call them the Anunnakis.
Yeah, they're the ones that created people, basically.
The only reason I asked if it was Japanese is because it sounds like a really good sushi roll.
It does. Yeah, but in their stories, the Anunnaki are the ones that created. It was Enlil and Enki that got together. They were kind of like the good and evil in a sense, depending on who you look at. But Alexander Sitchin kind of his not descriptions, but what do they call that when they not decipher but translate? Brain fart. His translations put it as Enlil and Enki, which were like the two main people in the Anunnaki. They're kind of like gods in a sense, or these lizard people, and they were the ones that got together and decided to create people. And it was Enlil's design and Enki made them, or it was vice versa. I can't remember which way it went, but and that's where humans apparently came from, is them create them to do the bidding, of them, more or less. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, for those people, um, among their ancestors are in like those that came after include the belated late Queen Elizabeth II. Moment of silence. Okay. George W., Henry Kissinger, the Clintons, Bob Hope. Bob Hope seemed like a kind of a random one in that little list, but apparently
Yeah,
Bob
Bob
Hope's one of
Hope.
them.
No. That
Apparently.
makes sense. That makes sense because he was really big in the 1950s. So he's a really big, popular, like pop culture figure.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. And then it also kind of encroaches on, I like that word, encroaching on other conspiracy theorist territory, saying that like lizards are behind secret societies like the Freemason and Illuminati and all of that. So connecting that kind of with them.
A lot of conspiracies encroach on a lot of other conspiracies, and that's just a common thing. And I feel like it's just, as much as I'm into it and I'll listen to anybody's theory, a lot of them encroaching on each other, and it's just the way it is, and it's just them being the people that are doing the investigating or the putting things together. They're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And some of it, I do feel like it has weight, but then others do not. And I think where the overlap is more where the truth is. That's my opinion, at least.
Do you think the lizard theory sticks?
Not in the aspect that I think David Icke puts it completely. I don't think that there's these shape-shifting lizards out there, but I definitely think there's a group of individuals that may like worship some type of lizard deity or something like that, and they kind of just morphed into third lizard people as a result, or something along those lines. I could definitely see that happening. And this isn't like our politicians and our things like that necessarily. I think it's the people that are truly running those people. Like I was saying before, the military industrial complex, like your Bill Gates types, your
Like Dick Cheney,
Elon Musk, yeah, like your higher executive types
Koch
that
brothers.
Yeah, the movers and the shakers that are actually, I think, influencing a lot of our way of our world.
Yeah. So, Angela, David, Christopher, what do you believe the lizard people want?
Well, I think they want what they've got. They've got power. I think that's more or less what everybody wants. Power and money.
I think it's our loosh. They're after our loosh. That's why they give us these highs and lows so often. That they're after that loosh of the changing of the season, basically, of our feelings. Like when we're up, they like it, but when they can make us go down after being up, they like it even more, and they kind of feed off of it like a vampire in a sense.
The reptiles are emotional vampires.
Yeah. Yes.
Money sucking emotional vampires.
Well, according to
I really
Ike,
want money,
the
though.
lizard people are after world domination. So,
But
yes.
I mean, I could see that, but I feel like in a sense they already have that. I mean, I feel like you can see it, the evidence of that there's already these conspiracy theorists that say the one world government and stuff. There's evidence of that already, that there's like a mindset, a central mindset that kind of controls the climate of everything. Maybe not completely, that we're all following the same rules, the same laws, the same complete mindset. But in a sense, I mean, just as simple as the I don't want to say it because that'll get us pegged on the platforms, but I'll make up a synonym to it, or whatever those things are called, a nanogram.
Analogy.
Analogy, a vaccine. that was pretty easy to get everybody on board for that,
Mhm.
And yeah, there's some truth behind it and there's some real behind it. But at the same time, that's kind of evidence of, David Icke, his big thing too is, the global elite provide the problem, but they also provide the solution. So that's their goal. They immediately, he has a better way of saying it. He's much more elegant in saying it, but more or less is the elites provide the problem and then they also provide the solution. And it's all controlled in a sense to take things the way they want it to go.
Oh yeah.
So in your analogy, what was your what did the elites gain from this last?
I think it was a test run in a sense to see if they could convince everybody to do something in a sense as a whole. And for the most part, they did. And I think in any experiment, and I'm not saying it was an experiment, I'm not saying that, but in anything, you're not going to gain 100% cooperation. I mean, it's not feasible. But the large majority, they were able to. And then you have people on TV, these famous stars and stuff saying that if people that are unvaccinated shouldn't be able to go to hospitals for healthcare, and pushing it that way to give the mindset of if they don't have it, they can't be seen by a doctor, and it wasn't saying in the fact that they shouldn't be seen by a doctor for that specific illness. It was like, if they're not, then if they break their leg, they shouldn't be able to go to a doctor to get seen.
Oh no, it was they can't go to the doctor to get seen for that specific illness, because I ran into that when I did have that illness. I had a person in the medical field look at me and say, "Well, if you were in this place, you wouldn't be able to get medical attention because you don't have that."
Mhm.
And
I was like, "Are you serious?"
saying,
and they're like, "Well, yeah, no, you wouldn't be able to get any medical attention."
and that's, to me, is just, that's like telling. Here's a similar thing. So back, I might be, my timeline might be off, but 5, 8, 10 years ago, whatever it was, you had these my body, my choice people. Well, I think that was more or less for the abortion, but you had the people as
The
my body, my choice.
anti-vaxxers, all the
In
moms that didn't want to get like all the vaccinations that we all had.
Exactly. All the inoculate.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And that'd be like telling a mother who decided to go that route for their child that ended up getting one of those diseases, that we're not going to provide health care for your child because you chose that route.
And in the first hospital that I went to that I was told that, right? They actually said nothing was wrong and sent me home.
Yeah, well.
And
that's
then
it's
2
just
days
funny
later, I was
how,
in the ICU fighting for my life.
yeah. And it's so funny that how so fast in that period of time that those same people that didn't want to have their children vaccinated all of a sudden are pushing everybody to get this vaccine. Fuck, I fucked that up, didn't I? So
Well,
I
you
don't know. I might
froze.
have.
So we have no idea what they
I
were
did.
fighting for.
Well, all the
They
people that
fighting for
were
healthcare when
fighting.
the parents. Oh, we lost him again. Oh no, we didn't. Wait, I feel like what you're saying is all the moms that didn't want to get vaccinated were like the first ones that went and got.
Yeah, and said that.
I don't know. I have some friends who are anti-vaxxers. I don't think any of them listen to this. If they do, whatever. And had their kids are not vaccinated, and were very much against the COVID vaccine too. And then I have some
Well, and
friends, like, I will take any vaccination, like, even if there's no, like, I'm like, give it all. Like, I'm already pretty sure that the government listens to what I have to say and controls me in many other ways. So give me more.
Yeah,
Give me more, give me more.
I don't care what anybody does, and you guys know my situation. I mean, I am vaccinated, but the thing is that I think it should be somebody's choice. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah.
It should be somebody's choice. It shouldn't be forced. You shouldn't be outcasted as a person. I think it just should be your choice.
Oh, I agree. And I think it became quite politicized and quite against the idea of it should just be your choice to being I think the powers that be even made it more. So not just
Yeah.
I don't think people should be punished for choosing to not get that. Cause I always didn't get that either. I have my friend, so I have another group of friends or same friend group, but another set who won't let their kids hang out with the non-vaccinated kids. And I was like, what do you care? Your kids are vaccinated.
Because it protects the person who's vaccinated. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Right.
Anyway,
so what do you care if I am vaccinated and you're not vaccinated? I'm vaccinated for chickenpox or something, and you're not vaccinated for chickenpox. You're going to get it. I'm not. I'm vaccinated. So I don't care if you and I hang out. You're the one that's at risk, not me.
Right. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get
people's logic.
I think it's a huge control thing. But I mean, we also know my thoughts on other stuff.
Does your friends do they have a application process? You must fill this out in order to be my friend. Because how does that come up in conversation? Is your kid vaccinated? No, get out of my house.
It is super common in parenting. I'm not a parent yet. Hopefully, soon. We'll find out. But it is really common in mom groups, especially 10, 15 years ago. And Robin probably would agree with us, to have these conversations about vaccinations, because it was a really big thing 5, 10 years ago. At the time that my friends all had, and these are my friends from college, all had kids that were on the same age, they would get together and there was some conversation in which it came up about vaccinations. And 2 of them do not vaccinate their children. And then one of them is a doctor, and she was like, what the fuck? And she's no longer invited to friend groups because I think she doctored them. And then the other one, somehow just made this decision because the kids aren't vaccinated that she's not going to let her kids play with them. And I was like, that sounds stupid because your kids are fine. It's their kids that are going to get the mumps and measles and tuberculosis.
Right. And the kids are so young.
What we vaccinate children for.
But they're so young that they don't even know. I mean, one of the things they vaccinate kids for is it's one of the hepatitis, but it's mainly passed through party people that are drugging and having sex. And so it's why are we giving kids a vaccine for that? But that's another story. And I don't have a problem with vaccinating kids. I mean, I get the downfalls of it and I respect people's decision to not, but I chose to. It's the fact that I see it going towards what China's going through now with the social credit score, and that being the preface to a type of social credit score, whereas oh, you're not vaccinated, so you're now less than a normal citizen or whatever. I could see it going that route, and this being the beginning stages of it. But I don't know.
Well, let's get back to lizard people.
Yeah.
So where do the lizard people come from? So lizard people are thought to primarily come from the constellation Draco, or Draco, how I read it, which made me think of Harry Potter. Though there are some theories that reptoids come from other systems like Sirius or Orion, we basically know that the lizard folks are aliens. So 1,000 years ago, these reptilian beings coming from Orion, Sirius, Draco, wherever, intervened on planet Earth and began interbreeding with humans. Not physically, though, but rather through manipulation of the human DNA. So Ike believes that it's no coincidence that humans have fundamentally reptilian genetics within their brain. So our reptilian brain is what is kind of linking to this thought. Draco, of course, is the constellation that is allegedly shaped like a dragon. And if you listen to its Latin name, Draconem, it means huge serpent. It's the 18th largest constellation. And reptoids from Draco are thought to be very tall and have retractable wings. So, that's cool. Lizard people have been visiting Earth since ancient times and breeding with humans, which has resulted in more lizard people, but mostly humans with the potential to be lizard people. So, what are your thoughts on that, friends?
I would
What's
love.
the
Go ahead.
prerequisite to be merged with said lizard person?
I don't know. I think you just have to be human, and probably it sounds like. So I honestly do not think that there are lizard people that are pure lizard. I think that there are people who have been all merged within lizards. But as we go on to talk more about like who are these lizard people, we talk a little bit about more of like that incest breeding or keeping it within the lines. And I think that's part of it.
I would love to have on some of these guys that say they were in the secret space program talk about the Dracos, because they're apparently, according to them, most of them are the Draco lizard people are kind of like the space pirates of the galaxy or solar system, whatever you want to call it. And it's just fascinating to hear them explain their encounters with these Draco lizard people, aliens. It's unbelievable. Whether, like I said a 100 times on this show, whether it's true or not, the stories they have of these guys that were involved in the secret space program is absolutely fascinating.
So, Chris, since you're our like resident conspiracy theory fanatic, expert maybe, what is it, Draco or Draco?
Draco.
Okay,
That's
so
how
it is
I've
like,
always heard
from Harry
them.
Potter.
Yeah, that's how I've always heard them pronounce it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So which famous celebrities are alleged lizard people? Well, apparently it's a lot of A-listers. There isn't a whole list, but from that list, I pulled some names like Barack Obama, Katy Perry, Bill Clinton, Angelina Jolie, and of course, the very famous lizard people, the British royal family.
Yes. And real quick,
so I thought maybe we could talk about them for a little bit.
Yes, I have a story on them. So apparently, one of the conspiracy theories that I've heard is that the reason Princess Diana died is because she was about to go public about the royal family being lizard people. And she actually witnessed, and apparently is on record somewhere, I'd love to find it, of saying that she witnessed one of them shape-shifting into lizard people, or a few of them shape-shifting into lizard people and actually consuming humans.
Yes. So one of the things I found was that apparently she told one of her closest friends that story, and that was going to be shared. And yeah.
Freaking love it. Well, like I said, whether it's true or not, it is absolutely fascinating. And it makes sense. And well, I wouldn't say it quite makes sense, but you think about it, as hard as they were, whatever it is now, on one of the prince's wives, because she wasn't whatever, was she not compatible with him because he's a lizard person? He's like, I don't care, Romeo and Juliet type of thing,
Yeah. And was the other part like, or was she just maybe like not okay with the lizard people thing after she found out about it all?
Yeah. And she's like, I don't want to go public because they're going to take me out, but I don't want my family to be involved, my kids to be involved in or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? Possible.
Well, so I claim that David Icke is the first person to claim that the royal family are blood-sucking alien lizards. Is Icke is British, correct, Dave or Chris?
Yes, he actually, yes, he is British. He actually has a fantastic accent. But he was
Oh,
a
yeah.
a football personality. He actually played, and then for the longest time, like in the 80s, late 80s and 90s, he was a announcer. Like or whatever they call those people.
A broadcaster?
Yeah, he was kind of in the spotlight. He was already somewhat famous, but he was apparently injured, so it ended his career as a football player. But then he started being an announcer, and then he kind of started going public with his opinions on lizard people and everything else.
Huh. Hey, Chris,
I have
it
a
says
quick
that
question. I have a quick question.
Do what?
Yeah,
Can you hear
go,
me?
Svea.
Yeah, go see. So, if King Charles is a lizard person and he married Diana, who is not, what would that make William and Harry?
Nephilim.
Okay.
Hybrids.
That's what a Nephilim is.
That's what a Nephilim is.
Yeah, I was giving her the basic version.
Oh. I have an answer for most things in conspiracy stuff.
Well, can you answer why you put us in low data mode?
Because somebody has shit internet.
Oh, okay.
And me saying it's probably me, even though I pay way too much money for internet. But that's because they have my neighborhood on a monopoly where I only have pretty much one choice. So
That's a whole nother conspiracy theory there, ain't it?
yeah, it's either I have cable, which is one company, or I can have a choice between two satellite companies, and I want nothing to do with satellite. So
No, that's how the lizard people find you.
yeah, beam me up, Scotty.
So it claims that the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh were shapeshifters who drunk human blood to look like us, and that these alien hybrids are behind the murders of Princess Diana and John F. Kennedy, as well as I said before, like 9/11 and things like that. He claims the only reason the public does not see this is because we are so obsessed with pop culture that we worship these people and we do not see them for what they are. He goes on to claim that these hybrids have become demigods, so part human, part god. And because of that, they were obviously perceived as gods, which is why their bloodlines became royal families. So in the Chinese Empire, the emperor and his descendants apparently are thought to come from like a serpent god, the lizard people. And it's all founded on the myth of the dragon, that they all come from reptilian connections to justify their right to rule. It goes on to explain this obsession of interbreeding among royals. So marrying someone close to the family to hold the genetic structure or to hold the hybrid, that demigod lizard part. And this can be seen as true because as we know, the Queen and Prince Philip were second cousins. So we have seen in more oh sorry.
No, and it further takes what I said earlier about the them not being happy with Prince, was it Henry? And his wife.
Harry. Yeah.
Harry. I know it was one of the H's. So it kind of flows to that because she's not closely related to the family in some sort of way. So it kind of messes up the blood flow.
Right. Yeah, like a lot of the certain offsprings of Elizabeth and Philip did not marry. They did not marry commoners or what is considered commoners. So there's some rift in the royal family, and been a little bit of a, like, I would assume William and Harry probably are like a second or third experience of this half breed. Maybe they're like quarter breeds. So. But yeah, what do you all think? Do you think that the royal family are reptilians, or do you think this is an unfound theory?
I think there's, in my personal opinion, I think there's something going on there. It just seems a little weird to keep things so well tight into the family. I mean, it's 2022 and they're, so worried about keeping the relations close to the family. It seems odd, you know?
So I like Chris said, I completely believe that there's something going on. I believe it's lizard people? No, I don't think it's the lizard person. But I think there's more of an entity there that wants that all power, all control. You know what I mean?
I mean, what right do the royals hold to anything in reality? They don't actually govern anything. And when Parliament was enacted, I don't forget what year it was. I mean, they kind of forgave their rights to really be the deciding factor within England. So it's like, what makes them, you know?
Yeah,
Right. They're still asked, aren't they? They're still like.
But I think it's as a courtesy.
Aren't they consulted?
Yeah, like they have to. Well, at least the British monarch is a constitutional monarch, so the king, I said queen, but the king now has the right to dismember co- uh, not Congress. What do they call it? The House of Parliament if he feels they are not doing their job. It's never happened, I don't think. And maybe fact check me on that. If it did, it's only been like once. And they can do the same in like Canada and the UK or Australia, any of the Commonwealth. But I mean, their main role, I think, is that family head diplomat thing. They haven't really had power in a very long time. Um, but that doesn't mean they don't have a ton of money. Like they have a shit ton of money.
Right.
And that I think is part of that power.
And where is that coming from? I mean, are they just sitting back collecting money off the people?
Yeah, I think some of the money does come from the people for sure. And then like the Prince of Wales gets this thing from like they call it the duchy, and it's like a bank that has a shit ton of money in it. And then they own a ton of property that's sort of passed down from their family. It's not even like royal English property, it's like their own. I think they just had a ton of money that's been just sitting and passing down. That they have. I mean, and then you have the working royals, so that's like William and Prince William and Catherine and um, King Charles and Camilla and Queen Camilla. And then you have like the non-working ones who they don't do any of the things with the royals. They don't like, they're there. Like Prince Harry and Meghan are a good example because they left him and they're like, we don't want to be working, but they still have a ton of money they get from like his mother's estate,
Right.
his grandmother, things like that. Like they're not hurting.
He means not at all.
And she's an actress, which also.
Angela, what's your take?
I'm not saying it's not possible, for sure. But I mean, it's just anything, like Amanda's saying, within power. They could be anywhere. So it could be the British government, could be American government, could be another country's government too.
That's fair.
So one of my favorite jokes is somebody made a joke about how Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan daughter, Princess Lilibet, is an American because she was born in America, American citizen, and that she's able to be president. And there was some joke about how the Brits were playing British royalty are playing the long game because now, like, if she did grow up to become president, then it'd be like, oh, the royal family once again is in charge of America. So they're like playing the long game.
Holy shit. Could you imagine?
I know, right?
Damn.
Some type of game, right? That is some game.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, so another fun story is.
And if you think about it, in the time that it would be for her to be president, like who would remember? Like, would there be a major platform that she would stand on? Oh, my family, are the monarchs of England and what have you. I know royalty. I know how to lead. Or would they just keep that quiet and try and make her the president, through the lizard people, and then here we are. We're back under English rule.
Well, I don't think they could hide it because she's probably going to be somewhat in the.
Yeah, her last name is Mountbatten. Or it might not be. I think it's Windsor Mountbatten is her last name. So,
never heard of it.
Which is a heck of a mouthful. That's what their proper last name is. That's the House of Windsor Mountbatten.
Oh.
House of Windsor. It used to actually be the House of like Schlossenberg, something. And it was very
lizard
German
people.
Because they're actually quite German. And when the World War One came out, they were like, we think you guys should change it. So King George II changed it to Windsor.
And wasn't it that at one time? I feel
like all that Chris, about conspiracy theories, I know about the royal family.
Well, wasn't it at one time? Maybe I'm pulling this from some movie, but the Tsar of Russia, the leader of Germany, and the King of England were all like related somehow, like cousins or something.
Yeah, they're all cousins. Through Queen Elizabeth or Queen Victoria, they were all cousins through her, and they all looked alike.
Right.
So I'll post a picture on our Instagram.
That goes to the lizard people theory right there. It's like me, you, and David all ruling different countries.
Yeah. Well, I think they were actually all second cousins, which is weird. They were all very intermarried, and they were so badly intermarried that there was a disease that came out of it. I can't think of what it was, which is why it's not, obviously it's very frowned upon now to do that.
And one of them, I think it was the one in Russia or Germany. It was one of those two had like a bum arm of some sort, like an arm that didn't work. I don't know, something crazy like that, but they always played it off.
Yeah, it was the
Tsar. What do they call the leader of Germany?
Him is his name. Is he an emperor? Is he was the Kaiser?
Kaiser, yes, that's it.
Yeah. Kaiser Wilhelm is the
Permanente.
Name. Kaiser Permanente. All right, so here's your list of how to tell if a person is a lizard person. So, check yourself, as it could be you. So they predominantly have green or hazel eyes that change like a chameleon. But their eyes can also be blue. So, Chris, I don't know.
Shit.
David, what color are your eyes?
Hazel.
That's what color mine are too. They have good eyesight or hearing. So that's where they lost us.
Yeah.
Well, my hearing's going downhill, so I'm good.
Huh?
Right.
Oh my God, did you all hear that?
Yeah.
What that was? Okay. Scared the shit out of me. All right. They have red hair. They have a sense of not belonging to the human race. They have unexplained scars on their bodies. They love space and science. They have low blood pressure, so you're okay there, Dave. And they have a deep compassion for the fate of mankind.
Hold on. My favorite, Amanda, from that list, because I think I'm looking at the same list you are, is the capability to disrupt electrical appliances.
No, I don't have that on my list. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, it's in an article I found from The Atlantic. And then,
yeah, that's the same one. I must have missed that.
Yeah. And then also alien contacts.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because you definitely know aliens.
So most of those described one of my exes. Yep.
Wait, did you say psychic abilities too, Amanda?
I did not mention psychic abilities.
I think you nailed all like my most previous ex. Yes, she could be a fucking lizard person.
Well, that could be why that didn't work out. Sorry about that.
She tried to suck the life's blood out of me.
All right. Well, speaking of who's the lizard, we're gonna play a game called Lizard or Wizard. And you have to decide if this person they're famous people. And you have to decide if you think they are lizard people or wizard people, meaning they might have magical powers. Okay?
I'm ready.
Are we basing it on that list that you just gave us?
Game on.
Yes, basing it on the list I gave you and on your own personal thoughts.
Okay.
All right, our first one, in honor of her releasing a new album and me being obsessed with it, is Her Majesty herself, Taylor Swift. Lizard or wizard?
I think she's
not a lizard.
I think she's a witch.
So that was Savannah.
I'm going with wizard.
All right, so we think T Swift is a wizard or witch because she's a female.
I think she's a lizard.
All right, Dr. Phil.
Lizard.
Oh, that's a good one. Wizard.
Alcoholic.
That was not one of my options, but I'll take it.
Oh.
All right. Our next one is J.K. Rowling.
Witch.
Yeah.
Agree.
So I guess that defuncts the wizard.
Well, witches and wizards are the same. But I actually think J.K. Rowling is a lizard who is secretly sharing her messages about her world through Harry Potter because the lizards are from Draco, which is one of the guys who's a Slytherin in Harry Potter. And they could also be from Sirius, which is also one of the guys in Harry Potter. So I think J.K. Rowling is actually a wizard. She's also a ginger.
Well, you're on
also
something.
a lizard, sorry. I'm going to write a book about it.
That tracks.
All right. Judge Judy.
Lizard.
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 This also can tell you the things I've recently watched based on the people that I'm naming. This one is for David. Ron DeSantis.
Wizard. Come on. He's a wizard.
Wizard.
I don't even know who she is.
How dare you? That will be your next president. That is the Republican governor of the state of Florida.
Yeah, I think he's a lizard. I think he's one of the lizard people.
I may have Dr. Oz as my next senator.
Yes, you may.
Like
wow.
That's a true story.
About that voting.
Yeah, that's a true story. He's running for Senate in Pennsylvania.
Yes,
really? That's freaking. Oh, I love this place. I love the United States of America.
I want to say I love this alternate timeline we're in.
There is some sort of fantasy reality or some this goes back to one of our episodes. Like there's some string pulling, some person is controlling this universe that we're living in, and boy, they're just pressing some great buttons.
CERN.
Let's see what they'll do here.
CERN calls the time slip. I'm telling you.
Some time slip happened.
Yeah, from CERN. You know the scientists or whatever that do the particle smashing in Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Oh, Switzerland. Hello, Switzerland people.
They make a lot of chocolate there, right?
Yeah.
And watches. So, yeah. And watches.
And holy cheese.
Oh, yeah.
This is such an American thing. Like, we're like, what else do they make in Switzerland? Chocolate and watches and cheese.
And my favorite, IKEA.
Oh yeah.
I thought IKEA was something else.
Swedish meatballs.
Swedish fish. Also sweet.
Swedish women. Beautiful.
Wait a minute. Sweden is different from Switzerland, though, right?
It is different than Switzerland.
Oh yeah, we're confusing our countries. My bad.
Whoops.
My brother's gonna listen to this and be like, "You're such a dipshit."
Yep.
That's why I was like, I thought IKEA was from like a northern Scandinavian country. Switzerland's not in Scandinavia.
I can't keep track.
Just completely botched all that. That was great.
My bad.
Well, we were off to a good start.
To be our fact.
We just took a hard right turn.
It's been a day.
Into Sweden. All right. Well, continuing on. Ryan Reynolds.
Wizard.
Phenomenal individual. Very not lizard. Very much wizard.
I'll go wizard.
Also my man crush.
Eminem.
Depends on what year.
Lizard. Come on, if he can switch up like that, Marshall Mathers to Eminem to Slim Shady, yeah, he's a wizard. Or lizard. Lizard, sorry. The Swedish Switzerland thing's getting to me.
Pre-2016, I would say wizard, but post-2016, I'd say lizard.
Oh. Tom Brady.
Lizard. An emotional lizard that has fallen off of football.
Yeah, I have him and Aaron Rodgers as my QBs, and my friends the other day were like, "Are you sponsored by AARP? Why do you have retirement people on your league?"
That's hilarious.
So.
I've got him and the now recently benched Matt Ryan as my quarterbacks.
Oh. Hey, you should pick up is Taylor Heineke from the Commanders, because he's a good pick since the Commanders QB is out.
Yeah, I might need a new one from the Redskins. I'll have to look at
that. Yeah.
Boom, name drop.
He was my resident when I was in Virginia. I was his hall director.
When you were at ODU?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah, only for the summer when he was there for summer practice. He lived somewhere else, like his freshman year, but in the summer, yeah. Yep, he knew who I was. We went to the game last Halloween.
He know who I is.
He know who I is. And I said hi to him, and he came over and said hi. So, yeah. All right, and then our last one is My favorite actor, the man that I think is most amazing, the one, the only, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo D. Lizard.
Yeah, good Lizard.
Agreed.
Do you think that's why he only dates women 25 and under?
Needs that fresh young blood.
Well, thank you for playing Lizard or Wizard with me.
Anytime.
I appreciate it. And, I love a good game. And that's what I have to say about the lizard people.
Fantastic. Still a believer, slightly.
Still in that, 14%?
Oh, you've upped it. Only 12%. Well, it went from 7 to 12, I think, during the podcast.
Well, I mean, clearly, like, at the end of this podcast, we'll have 14% thinking we're lizards.
Oh, I'm definitely a lizard. I tell Adam every morning when he wants me to get up that I'm still becoming human.
That makes sense.
And it's so dry here. I'm kind of scaly, so.
There you go. There's a podcast that this one of my other favorites is called The Confessionals. It's a pretty big, like, paranormal conspiracy type podcast. And he's getting ready to do a spinoff. He's done 2 spinoffs of his shows. One, he started a show with his father called it's basically a truck driver show. So it's like truck drivers come on and tell their stories. And The Confessionals, that started as he would have people on and they would tell their, paranormal encounters, whether it was with Bigfoot or aliens or ghosts or demons, whatever. And he's getting ready to do a spinoff because he's noticed like this story that's come up in a lot of his shows. It's basically like these people that have had these dreams of going into caves and having these encounters with these lizardish type cave people. So he's starting a new podcast that's solely based around that people have had these experiences. And supposedly there was a lady that wrote a book on somebody's direct experience that he has a copy of the book, but he won't say what book it is because the lady just doesn't want to be involved in it. And she like sat down with him and told him that, like, this stuff is real, like legit happened. And just it's pretty fast. I can't wait for it to be released. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that I was listening to another podcast talking about alien encounters, and a lot of stuff happened in like a dreamlike state or in a dream, and then this feeling of unsureness. And so, yeah,
I definitely think it's a lot to that because it's something to kind of way to hide their doings,
Yeah. I absolutely agree. All right. Well, thank you both, or thank you all 3 for joining and listening about lizard people. And hopefully we raised that 12% to at least 15% of the population believing in lizard people. Angela, when you're doing your review of what mistakes we made, figure out how many people we'd need to do that so we can hit that goal.
Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us on this episode of the Waters Run Deep podcast. Please remember to rate and review on your platform of choice. It really helps us out. It shows everybody that they're liking what we're putting out. And, tell your friends, your family members, tell anybody that listens to podcasts or you think might like to listen to podcasts. And the more listeners we get, the more content we can put out, the more we can get on the airwaves. So any topic suggestions anybody has, you can always email us at thewatersrundeeppodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can reach out to us via our Instagram at TWRD podcast. As always, thank you. Until next time.